Good morning, students. In today's class of service marketing, we'll start with a new topic, that is service blueprinting. In the previous class, we have studied about the service management triangle. So we'll be just recapping that before moving to towards today's topic, that is service blueprinting. So this is the service management triangle, where on the three sides are, one side is the company, another side is the service provider, and on the third side there are customers. So the interactions between the company and the service provider is known as internal marketing. The company some company sometimes provides these services to customers directly or through service providers. These service providers may be the employees of the company, or it may be subcontractors, agents, or other outsourcing entities. So whenever the service provider are appointed, they must be recruited regarding how the service has to be delivered to the customer, because the service providers, they actually interact with the customers and provide service to the customer. So if the service provider do not deliver the service as per the promises made by the company in external marketing, and they do not keep the promises, that is, they do not do the interactive marketing properly, then it will lead to loss of customer, and the customer will not return for repeat purchase and will not avail further services from the service company. So it is very important to see that in the internal marketing, the company recruits and helps the service providers with all the internal support system, thus thereby helping in enabling the promises. Then comes the external marketing, where the company is directly making promises to the customers. So here all the company says what is the kind of service that is going to be received by the customers, the end customers. So the customers, by looking at these external promises, external marketing activities, or messages, or making promises whereby company says that a certain kind of quality of service will be delivered to the customers are interested to avail the services from the service company. And when the customer wants to avail a service from the service company, they have to interact with the service provider. So here there is a service encounter where takes place, where the customers directly contact the service provider. So here interactive marketing takes place, where the service providers tries to keep the promises that is made in the external marketing. So if the service provider do not provide the proper services to them, do not interact with the customers in a proper way, or try to convert the customer into potential customer into effective business, then the customers will be lost. So these are the three the main points: company, service provider, and customers. And these are the known as the service management triangle, because in services, that is the promises on which the service company is based upon. So there is external marketing, making promises; internal marketing, enabling promises; and interactive marketing, keeping promises. We have detailed in this, we discussed this in detail in the previous class. So this is only a recap. For today's class topic is service blueprinting. So we'll try to understand what is service blueprinting. Now coming to today's topic, that is service blueprinting. It is what, when we say service blueprinting, what does it mean? It is, when we say blueprinting, service blueprinting, it means that we are blueprinting a particular service uh, of a company. So it is a diagram that visualizes the relationships between people, processes, and physical and digital touch points tied to a specific customer journey. So what is the specific customer journey? It tries to visualize the relationship between the different points, that is the people of the company, or the human resources, the various processes for which the service is given to the customers. The physical and the digital touch points means the service encounters where the customer directly comes in contact with the company. So visualize the relation between all these things that are tied to the specific customer journey. So what is the journey of the customer while availing the service from the company? This is known as blueprinting. And when we do this for a service, then it is known as service blueprinting. Blueprinting, also called as a flowcharting, is a technique that helps to understand the totality of a service as a process. So in the blueprinting, what happens generally, it's a kind of flowchart where the total technique in which the total process in which the service is delivered to the customers is put down on pen and paper. This helps in understanding the totality of the service as a process, understand the bottlenecks, understand the fail points or the pain points in the total process, and this will help us, the service company, to remove these bottlenecks or fail points or pain points in order to provide much more efficient and effective services to the customer. That is the reason why service blueprinting is very, very important. So this service blueprinting helps to understand that the fail points in the stages of the service that have statistical probability of generating problems that can be identified, understood, and possibly redesigned. So when the whole process in which the service is being provided to the customers is put down on a flowchart in a flowchart way, in a diagrammatical way, then we are able to find out the fail points or the problem areas or the pain points where generally statistically we have seen that problems are generated or there is a lot of problems. So that can be properly identified. We can understand why this problem is still coming and still persisting, and possibly those processes, those steps can be redesigned, or some new steps will be added, or some old steps which are not no more consistent with the present tense may be also removed. So this blueprinting helps to understand these fail points and to make changes in the existing service process, so that to make the service process much more lean, clean, and to see that the service is properly given or rendered to the customers. It is used to make improvement to the design of an existing service or to design a new service. So it can be done from the service blueprinting can be done for two reasons: either in order to make improvements or modifications or changes in the existing service. If we find that the persistent problem or problems are being generated statistically, we are finding problems, then we will try to remove them. Or sometimes when we are trying to design a complete new service, then also it is very important to understand the service as a whole process in order to understand where the problems may arise and what are the places where the customers may find difficulty in getting the service. So those fail points can be removed. So both while making improvements to an existing service or to design a new service, in both the cases, this service blueprinting can be used. Then service blueprinting, its a focus is on the service delivery system and service design. The focus of the service blueprinting is to see that the service delivery system, the way in which the service is being delivered to the customer, that is proper, and the service redesign is being the focus. I mean, that means if there is a problem persisting in the service process, in the service delivery system, then those processes can be redesigned in order to make the service process or the service delivery system much more fail proof. Once a service company feels that the blueprint captures the actual service process currently in use, it may require adding or eliminating steps to improve the response time or giving the frontline employees more scope to satisfy the customer. So what happens by doing the service blueprint? It gives the company, if the service blueprint actually captures the service process entirely, that is used by the company, it will give a leverage to the company, and the company may add, if possible, if required, may add certain steps or remove certain steps. So in order to remove the response type, in order to remove those fail points, and give the frontline customers who will be directly interacting with the customer more scope to satisfy the customers, to see that the customers grievances are properly handled, and whatever problems the customers are facing can be removed easily so as to satisfy the customer. A blueprint will explain the steps that contain unnecessary bottlenecks and potential problematic customer interaction. So they helps to highlight or identify and understand these unnecessary bottlenecks and potential problematic customer interaction that happens in the service delivery system or the service process. So we will have an idea what is going wrong, what we are doing wrong, and how this thing can be removed. A blueprint provides a graphical depiction of the service. So blueprint is nothing but, we can, in short, we can say it's a graphical depiction of the complete service, the whole service that is being rendered to the customers. Then a service blueprint may also serve as an educational tool for illustrating that each employee plays a key role in the overall system rather than performing an isolated job. So what is that? The main, another importance of a blueprinting is to see that it can be used as an educational tool. When the whole process has been blueprinted and we know what are the general fail point areas, and when new steps are added or eliminated, this will act as an educating tool for the new employees or the existing employees, to tell them that each and every employee of the organization, service organization, plays a very critical role, and they are not performing any isolated jobs, and each and everybody's jobs is networked or connected with one another. So everybody has to do their job, complete their role to the fullest to see that the jobs are being properly done. So the service blueprint can be also used as an educational tool by the service company. So the service company will be in a position to understand that how the service blueprint can be used as an educational tool, and they may actually use for training purposes of this employees, to tell them that they are working in a environment where they are not doing isolated jobs and each other's jobs are related, so they together have to be very focused on satisfying the customer and delivering the service that will satisfy the customer. The blueprint also suggests the stages in process where measurements needed to monitor service quality and keep it in control. One of the major areas that is a problem area in any service company is to see that the service quality levels are of a good level. If the service quality is of not good level, if the service is not something that the customers desires, service quality is not desirable to the customer, then the customer will not purchase those services or avail those services from the service organization. So it is very important to see that the service quality level is maintained properly, and one of the ways of maintaining the service quality is to see that the blueprint helps in maintaining the service quality because, and to keep it in the control expected levels, acceptable levels, because this blueprint suggests the various stages where measurements of this service quality is needed, and where the problem arises, those points can be rectified, those points can be redesigned in order to see that the service quality is not hampered, and the overall service quality that the customer is going to receive is of very good quality. This is very important. So the service blueprinting also helps in maintaining the service quality of the service organization. So this is also one of the reasons why service blueprinting is very important. One of the most significant differences in service blueprint compared with other types of process flow diagrams is the inclusion of customers and their views of the service process. So if we say what is service blueprinting is same as the other process flow diagrams, no, there is a difference between both them. In other process flow diagrams, we do not include the customers involved and do not use their views in the service process. Their views are not entertained. Whereas come to service blueprinting, in comparison to other process flow diagrams, there is an inclusion of customers and their views of the service process. We see that what the customers are feeling, their views we are taking into account, and also inclusion of these customers is also taken into account. So the in service blueprinting, the customer is at focus, the customer satisfaction is at focus. So this is one of the main differentiating factors between service blueprinting and other process flow diagrams. So if we say in brief, a service blueprint is a visual portrayal of the service plan. So whatever this company service organization, they have a plan in the mind that the way the service will be given, whatever the service management and triangle, we also studied that how whatever promises that is being the service company is making to the customers, this service blueprint helps us to understand how these promises has to be kept, how the services have to be properly delivered to the customers, to see that the customer should be in focus while doing the service blueprinting, to see that the satisfaction is at focus, to see that they're properly satisfied. And when they are why the reason it is very important to see the service satisfaction or to see at the service level, because service quality levels, because this will help the company in keeping the promises that the company is making to the final customers. So when the company feels that whatever service they are getting, the value of the services is more in comparison to the money they are paying for the service, they will be much more inclined to buy more services from the service company. They will come for repeat purchases. Not only that, they will also spread a positive word of mouth in the society. So this is very important. That is the reason service blueprinting is very important from the service company's point of view. Now we will understand certain major components of a service blueprint. So when we are making a service blueprint, there are the various components of service blueprints that we have to keep in mind. First is, there are majorly five service blueprint components that we are going to discuss. The first is the customer actions. What is customer actions? It includes all the steps that customers take as part of the service delivery process. So whatever steps that the customers take as a part of the being a service delivery process, so whatever role they have to perform in the service delivery process, they are known as customer actions. Because whenever one of the characteristics of services is that the services has to be given, the production and consumption of services has to take place simultaneously. So when, as and when the service is being delivered to the customers has to be present at that point of time in order to receive or to the service from the service provider. So the customer plays a very important role in the service delivery process. So whatever interaction, whatever the various steps that the customer needs to perform in the service delivery process, these are known as the customer actions. The customer actions encompass the steps, the choices, the activities and interactions that the customer performs in the process of purchasing, consuming and evaluating the service. So this is in a way, in a very proper way, it shows whatever the meaning is of customer actions is. Customer action encompasses or includes or comprises of all the various steps, the various choices, the various activities and interactions that the customer performs in the process of purchasing of the service, in consuming the service and also evaluating the service. So in all the three things that the consumer doing, either purchasing, consumer, evaluating the service, whatever the steps, interaction and the activities and the choices that the customers is taking, they all come under the heading of customer actions. Customer actions are depicted chronologically across the top of the blueprint. So customer actions is one in the top of the blueprint, and they depicted chronologically at the top of the blueprint whenever the service blueprint is happening. Now, the second component that we need to understand is that on-stage or visible contact employee actions. There are certain visible or on-stage employee actions that we have to understand because they directly deal with the customers. The next critical component is the on-stage or the visible contact employee actions separated from the customers by the line of interaction. So there is a line of interaction. We'll be discussing that later in little bit more detail. So this line of these customer actions happen above the line of interactions. So these are separated by this line of interactions, the physical evidence and the physical evidence and customer actions are above the line of interaction, and this on-stage or visible contact employees are separated from this customer by this line of interaction. So if we will, while we'll seeing the diagram later, we'll be understanding where is the line of interaction. The front-end contact employees actions are visible to these customers. So these are the people who will directly come in contact with the customer. These are the people who are directly visible to the customer and they directly interact with the customer. So these front-end or contact employees are very essential for the company from the service company point of view, because these are the face of the company and these people have to be empowered enough and so that they can satisfy the customers, and all support systems should be provided or internal support systems should be provided to see that the front-end contact employees are actually able to satisfy the customer. So this is very important because these are the people who are directly visible to the customer. Those actions of the frontline contact employees that occur as part of face-to-face encounter are depicted on stage contact employee actions. So actually this is the point where there is face-to-face encounter takes place between the customer and the on stage visible contact employees or the front-end contact employees. They come in face-to-face with each other, and these frontline contact employees that occur as a part, these actions that are that the frontline employees they do as a part of this face-to-face encounter are depicted in the, these are the things that are comprises of the on-stage visible contact employee actions. So when we say on-stage visible contact employee actions, this includes all the activities, all the actions that the frontline contact employees do when they come face-to-face encounter with the customers. Now, in the on-stage or visible contact employees, we have to see that every time the line of interaction is crossed via a link from a customer or to a contact employee, a moment of truth has occurred. So every time there is a line of interaction is there, once this line of interaction is caused by a link from the customer to a contact employee, maybe the company's self-service technology there, where this link, the person customer process this line of interaction then a moment of truth happens. So the link via customer to a contact employee. So this, when this is crossed, a moment of truth has occurred. So there are usually either this interaction, this is crossed on stage visible employees they have to do. There is interaction. There are mostly two types of interactions. First, there must be either human to human. For example, a customer interacting with the employee at a cash register. If at a hotel the customer is interacting with the cash register, or is interacting the person in the front office, then there is a human to human interaction of the where the on stage or visible contact employee actions takes place, and the on stage frontline customers interact with the customers, final customers, in human to human way, face to face. And this interaction can also take place from human to computer form. For example, a customer dealing with an ATM transaction. So what happens here, whenever a person is trying to make an interaction or make a transaction through this ATM, then the person is contacting the computer, and it is the computer with whom the customer is getting the initial contact. So there is an interaction between human to computer. There is not an interaction between human to human. So this the type of encounters may be two types. Maybe it will be human to human, or it may be human to computer. So whatever the actions that takes place by the frontline employees or front end employees, when they come face to face with these customers, these are known as the, all these actions are coming under the head of on stage or visible contact employee actions. So they are just below the line of interaction. And whenever this line of interaction is crossed, then there is a we known as a moment of truth has occurred. Now coming to the third point that is very important, third component in the service blueprint that very important is the backstage or invisible contact employee access. These people remain backstage and they help the frontage or the on-stage contact employees to provide the better services to the customer. So what happens in the backstage? This is the next critical component is the backstage or the invisible contact employee actions, separated from the on-stage contact actions by a very important line of visibility. So they are separated from this frontage or on-stage visible contact employees by a line of visibility. This backstage invisible contact employees. Everything that appears above the line of visibility is seen to the customer, while everything that is happening below it is invisible. So the line of visibility is there. So everything that happens above the line of visibility is something that the customer directly can see and can decide for himself. But there are certain things that occurs below the line of visibility, and these things are not visible to the customer, or they are invisible to the customers. Below the line of visibility, all the contact employees are described. Both of those are involve non-visible interaction with customers. Non-visible interaction means they are not only these interaction not only completely invisible or non-visible to the customers, like printing of a bill before bringing it to the table. So in a hotel, the person who is responsible to printing of a bill before the bill is actually given by the waiter to the customers. So these are the backstage in actions or the invisible contact employee actions, where the persons do not come directly in contact with the customers, and their role is only to print a bill, and that bill is finally brought to the table by the waiter, as well as other activities where the contact employees do in order to prepare to serve the customers well, or as a part of their roles and responsibilities. For example, the head chef in the kitchen. So these people, they are also not visible, and their activities are something they have to do in order to serve the responsibilities, roles and responsibilities that has been assigned to them. Example, the head chef in the kitchen. So in the hotel environment, so in the setting where there is a head chef in the kitchen, so that these are also backstage invisible contact employees, but their actions is different, because they will also not go directly to the customers, but their job is to see that the food is been properly prepared, all the regulations whatever there for preparing the food is done, and the food is properly delivered to the customers. So the product and service part both are handled by the head chef in the kitchen. So this line of visibility, that all these employees actions that takes place below the line of visibility, these are not visible to the customers, and either this may be non-visible interaction with customers, whereby the customers when the employees are invisible contact employees are doing certain actions where they have to interact with customers but do not go directly, or they are part of their roles and responsibilities which they have to do in order to see that the service is properly delivered to the customers. So these are the role of the backstage or invisible contact employees. Then comes the fourth component that is very important in understanding is the support processes. These are the support processes, means these are the people who will see that the properly service is being delivered. They will be completely internal support processes, support systems of the service organization. They are a very important part to play, because if they do not support the on stage and the backstage employee actions, then the service cannot be delivered. So the next critical component in this is the support processes separated from contact employees by the internal line of interaction. So they are separated by the internal line of interaction. So we'll be discussing by an example. So we are just reading the components now, understanding the components now. You may be having certain doubts regarding the practical use of this. We will be by a example, we'll be going to explaining this in later part of the video, but just we are understanding the components as of now. Now, what happens in support systems? The support systems processes cover the internal services, the steps and interactions that take place to support the contact employees in delivering the service. So whatever the contact employees backstage and the front stage, on stage or the backstage, these support systems or the steps or the services or the interactions that takes place, these help the contact employees in delivering the service to the customer in a better way. So that is the reason these support systems or support processes very important. Now coming to the final component in the service blueprint is the physical evidence. Finally, for each customer action and every moment of truth, physical evidence that customers come in contact is described as the very top of the blueprint. So physical evidence is something that is present or is penned down on the top of the very top of the blueprint, where every time a moment of truth occurs, the physical evidence has a very important part to play in it. These are all the tangibles that customers are exposed to that can influence the quality perception. So these are the actual fits, because services are something which cannot be seen, cannot be touched. So physical evidence gives them an idea that the service they are going to receive is of utmost top quality. Like if you give an example of physical evidence, whenever when a person is interested to take a plane ticket and want to go from one place to another, he can get the idea regarding the service quality of the plane travel or the aeroplane services by looking at the physical evidence, like the staffs, by the looking at the plane, looking at the various sitting arrangements, looking at the food and other perks that is given to this air travelers. So these are the things, are the physical evidence which he gathers from the advertisements, and this creates a quality perception in the minds of the customer. So physical evidence is all those tangibles. These are actually shown to the customers in order to tell them that the service that they're going to receive is of very good quality. In order to build or influence this quality perceptions, this physical evidence is a very important part. This is the proof that interaction actually happened. This physical evidence shows that interaction actually happened, and examples of such are includes proof of purchase or physical storefronts or website. This shows that the service quality is of utmost quality. So these are the main 5 components that we have to understand while components of service blueprint we have to understand if we want to create a service blueprint for our service organization. Now coming to the various, while studying these components, we have come across 3 lines. So these 3 lines are also very important to understand when we are trying to understand the complete service blueprint. So let us understand the various 3 lines that we have discussed. First is the line of interaction. This is the interaction between the customer and the organization. So here the direct interaction between customer and the organization takes place. Then comes the line of visibility. We have seen that, so this separates the visible and invisible to the customer. Everything visible is above the line and everything backstage is below the line. So whatever actions that takes place above the line of visibility is something which the customer can see, and all the actions that takes place below the line of visibility is something on the backstage and the person cannot see, or the customers cannot see. Now coming to the third line is the line of internal interaction. What happens? This separates the employees who have direct contact with those who do not directly support customer interaction. So this separates between them, those who directly contact these customers and those who do not, who don't directly support customer interaction. This is known as the line of internal interaction. So all the components and the various three lines that we have discussed till now can be understood better by taking an example. So if we look into this example, you must be seeing that in the very first top end corner there is physical evidence, then comes customer actions, then comes employee or on stage actions, then come backstage actions, and then comes the support processes. So this we are dealing about a pizza company. An example of a pizza company is given whereby physical evidence means there is a website and phone services through which the pizza can be ordered, or phone and online services also there through which pizza can be ordered. These are the things that the customers can actually see. This is physical evidence. This shows that the better the way of order taking is done, they feel that the service of good quality. Apart from that, there are also, when the offline, apart from ordering online, they can order offline. They can actually visit the store, visit the outlet, or the cafeteria. So what happens in that, if they pizza corner, if they come to the pizza corner, the pizza shop, they will look at the uniforms, the storefront of the outlet, the various logo, the payment processes, the pizza box in which the pizza is going to be delivered, the order process, everything. These are the various driver vehicle, the logo. Uh, all these things, they give an idea about the physical evidence. So by looking at these things, the customers can gain an insight whether the service they are going to receive is of good quality or not. Then customer interaction means at the places where the customer interacts. So whether in website or phone on online service, or whether coming to an shop, there is a placing of an order received it, and a notification is sent to them, and when they are in the shop they may also come to pick up a order. So also there must be a delivery system where order is also received. So all the physical evidence and customer interactions, they all the interactions that takes place above the line of interaction. This is the line of interaction. Above that, all kind of interactions takes place with the customers. Okay, this is the line of interaction that is very, very properly visible. And then comes to the uh, employee on stage or front end employees. These are separated by the line of interaction, so they are above the line of visibility. Here actually the orders are handed over to the counter, or the orders are generally given when they are doing an online process. Then they're directly going to backstage. There is no on stage because the company, they do not deal with the customers. There is a human to computer interaction and not human to human interactions. So there is no on stage customer interactions when we are taking order through website or phone services or online services. But when we are actually taking orders in an offline manner, then there is actually order is handed over in the counter, and also delivery of package takes place on the counter. So these are the frontage or the on stage employees who directly contact the employees. So these are above the line of visibility. So these things are all, everything that is visible to the customers. Everything that is below the line of visibility is not visible to the customers, but they work towards providing better services to customers. Then comes the backstage employee actions. So while in online ordering, what happens, customer receiving order, then it goes to support systems where uh, a relaying of order to the cooks happens, or cooking process takes place, packaging of order takes place, holds the order for customer, or delivers or picks up the order. So all these things happen, and then finally dispatch of to the driver is done. So all the support services are done once it is received. So also a notification is sent to the customers in online orders to tell them that whatever order they have received, that is proper, that is right. So notification is also, order status notification also told to them, sent to them, telling them this is the order, and that they are going to receive the order in so much time, and this is the person who is going to deliver you the order. So and this is the time limit or the response time, or within time within which the order will be received. So the notification is sent to the customer. So this happens in online ordering. What happens in offline ordering, they notify the customer about what is the time within which the order will be complete, and they notify the customer about the arrival of the customer about the arrival, uh, how fast the service will be delivered to them, those persons who come offline and sit in the store to have the pizza. So this is the way the five components, the physical evidence, customer actions, employee backstage, on stage, and support processes work together. And these are the line of interaction, line of visibility, and line of internal interactions. They come together in order to provide a better service to the customer. So this is the way in which a service blueprinting can be done in order to understand the various pain points or the fail points, and then these points can be resolved and redesigned. Now, coming after understanding the example, let us understand that it is easier to reach a shared understanding and achieve a smooth service process when working in collaboration. So whenever we are making a service blueprint, we have to work in collaboration, and to see that the service is very smooth, we have to come together to provide a work in collaboration to make a proper service blueprinting. Different departments can get to know each other's responsibilities and challenges and see how they influence each other's deliveries. So all the departments who together come in order to provide the service to the customers, they have to come together and work in collaboration to make the service blueprint. And finally, service blueprint made in collaboration can help the service provider teams create not only a service roadmap but also align action plan of each department involved in the service process. So when the service blueprinting is done by bringing together all the departments involved in the service delivery process or the complete service process, we'll be able to align the individual departments goals with the goals of the company, and we are able to make a proper service roadmap. So this is the whole understanding of the service blueprinting. Please go through the video. If you have any notes, no need to panic, contact me. I will be sending you the notes digitally. Go through that. And finally, thank you for your attention.